The spirit of the pool table. In a town wrapped in the mystery of ancient legends, where the mist from the mountains kissed the earth like a secret waiting to be uncovered, there lived a man named Ben. Ben was a pool player unlike any other. His talent was unmatched, his name whispered in awe across regions, and his reputation stretched far beyond the village. Legends spoke of his magical touch with a cue stick, of his ability to read the angles of the table as if he could see through time. Ben was a quiet man, humble in nature, but on the pool table, he was a force to be reckoned with. His victories had become stories told around campfires, and every time he sank another shot with precision, people marveled at how he seemed to be one with the game. But for all his fame, a storm was brewing in the shadows, one that would change Ben's life forever. It all began one evening, after Ben had claimed yet another victory in a regional pool tournament. The crowd's cheers echoed in his mind as he made his way home, tired but content. The road back to his cabin wound through thick trees and rolling hills, the moonlight filtering through the leaves, casting long shadows across the path. The stillness of the night was unlike any other. There was a strange sense of foreboding in the air, as if the world around him had held its breath. Ben dismissed the feeling. After all, he was a champion. Nothing could touch him. But as he stepped inside his cabin, a chill ran down his spine. The warmth of his home, usually comforting, felt distant. The hearth crackled softly in the corner, but there was something off about the atmosphere. As he sat down to rest, he heard it, a faint whisper, like the rustling of leaves in a windless forest. He looked around, but there was no one. The sound grew louder, like a murmur just at the edge of his hearing, drawing him in. He tried to shake it off, but the voices continued, echoing around him in a language he couldn't understand. His heart began to race. A cold sweat formed on his brow. Before he could react, he heard the unmistakable sound of pool balls clinking together, as if a game were in progress. Ben's eyes darted to the table in the corner, but there was no one there. The balls rolled of their own accord, moving with a rhythm that wasn't natural. The cue ball seemed to jerk forward, striking the other balls, sending them careening across the table, all while an eerie, guttural laugh filled the room. Ben's legs froze. He could neither move nor speak as the whispers turned into cackles, rising louder and louder. "You will never be the best," they said, their voices dripping with malice. "You will never be free from the spirits of the table." The torment didn't stop. Every night, Ben would lie awake, hearing the clattering of pool balls, feeling the weight of eyes on him, the cold presence that lingered in the corners of his home. His once perfect game began to falter. His hands would tremble, and his mind would cloud over, making simple shots impossible. The spirits had found him, and they were not going to let go. Ben had no peace, and the anxiety started to take its toll. He could no longer sleep for more than an hour at a time. Every corner of his cabin felt haunted, the shadows shifting, and the eerie hum of the spirits never ceased. The once comforting space had turned into a prison. One fateful night, as he prepared for a tournament, Ben could hardly hold his cue stick. His hands shook uncontrollably as he stepped up to the table. The usual confidence he had in his skills was gone, replaced by a gnawing fear. Every shot felt wrong. The angles he once read with ease were now distorted in his mind. His opponents noticed his odd play and began to sense the fear creeping into his game. Ben, usually the one who played with fluidity and calm, was now on the edge of breaking down. After a series of failed shots, he lost. The crowd was shocked. No one could believe that the legend of Ben had finally been defeated. In that moment, Ben realized that the spirits had taken more than just his confidence. They had taken his very identity. His fame had meant nothing. Without his game, he was nothing. Determined to find a way to defeat these spirits, Ben set off for the mountains the next day, the weight of failure on his shoulders. His feet trudged through the dense forest, the same path he had once walked during his earlier, carefree years. Now, every step felt like an eternity. The spirits were always there, haunting his thoughts, whispering to him, telling him he was no longer worthy of being a champion. After what felt like an age, Ben reached the home of the old sage who was said to hold the answers to even the most perplexing mysteries. The sage's hut was perched on the edge of a cliff, with a view that stretched for miles into the horizon. It was quiet here, almost too quiet, and the air was thick with a sense of ancient knowledge. The old man listened patiently as Ben poured out his troubles. He spoke of the whispers, the invisible hands that had moved the pool balls, and the way his game had faltered. When he finished, the sage's face was unreadable. "You have encountered something powerful, something born of jealousy and fear," the sage said. "But the spirits that torment you are not invincible. They are not the true source of your struggle. You must look within yourself, Ben, for the key to overcoming them lies in your heart, your trust in your own power." Ben looked puzzled. "I've lost my confidence. I can't play as I once did. How can I defeat these spirits if I am not whole?" The sage's gaze softened. "You must face these spirits not with force, but with understanding. The key is in your ability to connect with the game, with the very essence of it. And to do this, you will need help from one who has mastered the true nature of the table." The name that came to Ben's mind was that of a friend Reyes, the legendary pool player whose skill was spoken of in hushed tones across the world. But how could someone like him help Ben from so far away? The sage looked at Ben with knowing eyes. "Go to sleep with this question in your mind. Let your heart be open, and you will find the answer." That night, as Ben lay down in his bed, exhausted and heartbroken, he fell into a deep, restless sleep. In his dream, he stood at the pool table once more, but this time, the atmosphere was different. The room shimmered with an otherworldly glow, and before him stood a friend Reyes, the master of the game, the legend who had transcended the table itself. A friend's eyes met Ben's with calm certainty. "You are not alone," he said, his voice as steady as a cue stick in his hand. "You've been given a great gift, the ability to read the angles of the game, to see beyond the surface. But the game is not just about skill. It is about the mind and soul working together, creating harmony between the self and the table." Ben listened intently, his heart beginning to open. "But how do I stay focused when the spirits try to distract me?" he asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty. A friend's gaze softened. "Focus comes not from pushing away distractions, but from embracing the quiet within. You must trust in yourself, in the years of practice that have shaped you. The spirits you face are born of doubt, but doubt is nothing when you have clarity. Remember, it is not the spirit of the table that makes you great. It is your spirit." Ben awoke with a sense of peace he hadn't felt in weeks. The spirits no longer held power over him. He knew what he had to do. That very night, Ben stood before the table once more. The spirits tried to whisper, tried to draw him into their chaos, but this time, he stood firm. The voices, no longer strong enough to unsettle him, faded into nothingness. With each shot, Ben felt more and more in tune with the game. The ball rolled as though it were part of his own body. The spirits were gone, driven away not by strength, but by his unshakable trust in himself. Ben made the final shot. The 8-ball sank smoothly into the corner pocket, and the room was silent. For the first time in days, the table was still. The spirits had been vanquished. In the weeks that followed, Ben's confidence returned, and his game was sharper than ever. He won tournaments with ease, but it wasn't just about victory anymore. It was about understanding the deeper meaning of the game and the deeper meaning of life itself. He had learned that no matter how dark the shadows or how fierce the spirits, the true power lay within himself. With the wisdom of a friend Reyes guiding him, Ben had found his balance, and with it, he had conquered the very forces that once sought to destroy him. And so, the legend of Ben grew, but it was no longer just about his skill. It was about his wisdom, his perseverance, and his ability to rise above the shadows with the light of his own spirit. And that's another shot in the books. Whether it's legendary players, thrilling matches, or the mysteries hidden behind the cue ball, there's always another story waiting to be told. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new tale from the world of pool. Keep your cue steady, your angles sharp, and remember, every great player has a story. What's yours? Drop it in the comments below. See you at the next break.